Hey friends, welcome to Creative X. My name is Brad Hussey and I'm a web designer. Today I want to share a clip from my weekly office hours session that I host in the Creative X crew, which is my free community for professional designers and developers, freelancers, and founders. During these sessions, I answer questions, provide design feedback, live coaching calls, and I also host lectures and workshops, all with the sole purpose of helping you succeed as a designer. If that sounds like you, join the crew. The link is down below in the description and the pinned comment. Without further ado, cue the clip. All right, so this is called It's Centered That. And it's just meant to see, first of all, like how well trained is your eye to see the center of an object. Okay, that is centered. Nice, and it shows you like a crosshair. That is definitely not centered. That is not centered. Ooh. Okay, trying to trick me. It's going sideways. That is not centered. Nice. Okay, so triangles are funny because you think, it's like whenever I design a play button and I'm doing a mock-up and I'm designing, you've probably come across this, is you visually center what you think is centered from what it looks like from edge to edge. And you're like, that's centered. But when you put on like the guides in Figma or Photoshop, and then you actually center it, you're like, that doesn't look centered. What's happening? It's because of the bulk of like the mass of this triangle is obviously here. And because of that, or depending on which angle you're looking at the triangle, because of that, it almost creates this illusion of like where the center is. And so this to me, it seems like it is off center, but it's probably not. Because I think
it's centered.
Okay. Okay, let's do it. And we're gonna center. Oh, you were right.
Hold on a second. It's centered, yeah.
You were right. Okay, I know I've messed with triangles before, and there's some sort of illusion when you look at it. If you don't look at it the right way, you don't see the center properly. Okay, is the dot in the center of the left triangle? Oh, see it now. We got another triangle.
I don't believe so.
Gee, that I'm gonna say no, but it is. See, you see?
Wow.
Oh, and I fail. Okay, let's do that one more time. Let's try it. It's a new set. Okay, that is so not centered. Not centered. Ooh, close. This one is centered. Ooh, I'm doing good.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, another triangle. That is in the center. Oh, just off. Phony fonts. Ooh, let's go with travel, which is the real font. Oh, okay. So you choose like the right font that it actually is. It's this one. Holiday Inn. Ah, it is this one. No, what? It's this one. Am I right? Yep. Okay. Ooh, that was more of a guess. Oh, this one's obvious. To me, it's this one. Okay, TripAdvisor. Okay, really, really close. This one's got less tracking, and it is more bold than this one. So they both look pretty good, but this one to me, if I'm looking at the R, because usually when I find is when designers design fonts, they go out of their way to adjust. They won't just take the font verbatim. They'll go in, convert it to lines and shapes, and then they'll adjust certain things, kerning and the lettering. They may even adjust a serif or an edge to be more unique. And what I'm seeing in this one is it just looks like the font. See how the R at the end of the R, it's an angle, whereas the R here is flat to the eye. Now that might just be the nature of the R in this font, but that to me is an indication that there's a little more thought put into this. Also the tracking between, or the kerning is generally more tight here, whereas like this T, it looks a little bit far. So this seems a little bit more rookie. Okay, that's what I'm going. Ah, it was correct. Ooh, Trivago. Okay, so okay. It really comes. Oh, okay. To me, I'm gonna say this one. It's more bold, obviously. It's got a heavier weight, but the lettering is especially the T. To me, the T gives it away. That doesn't look nice. The way that this T is shaped in this font, it just looks like it doesn't look as nice, whereas this one is more consistent all around. And that just might be more a subjective thing. Okay, I'm going with this one. Oh, I was wrong.
All that information you gave me was wrong.
So there's another one here that I found very interesting called Kern Type. Now this one is like really geeking out for like the typographer, person who likes the designer who's all about kerning and adjusting the font. It's kind of a good segue from the last one. When I worked at a studio and I worked closely with a designer, I always remember being in awe at his obsession with adjusting kerning between individual letters. I was always just thinking like, the font came out of the machine perfect. That's the way it was designed. Why do you think that you need to kern a letter? Seems like a waste of time. And I remember thinking that. And so I questioned, in a polite way. I was like, why do you do that? It seems unnecessary. Like, well, you're just choosing a letter and being like, boop, 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 moving it 3 pixels left, a little bit to the right. Why? And if I can recall, his answer was something like, there's a couple reasons. One, a creative stylistic choice. Like, I like it like this, and I want to make a customized decision that I think looks better for this treatment, this design, this brand, which is totally valid. The second one was, not all fonts come out of the machine, like in the computer, proper or perfect. And then he'll show, like, look at the distance between this T and this Y in relation to the other letters. Look at how far it is. It's very obnoxious. You can't unsee when the kerning is off, and then it just bugs you. So that's kind of what this next game is. All right, so we choose, right now it's giving me 3 letters that I can choose to adjust. I think you can move them like this, and you can also keyboard shortcut to be more specific. So you can tab through the letters, okay? And you can enter the next screen, and you can also nudge left with the arrows to go 1 pixel, or shift arrow to nudge 10 pixels. Common convention in like Photoshop and Figma and such. Okay, so I get to look at this, and I already messed with it, and adjust where I think it should be, and then compare what the actual typeface designer made it to be, so the proper kerning. All right, so I'm gonna start here, go a bit rough, because I can't adjust the T or the A, so I only got these 3 to work with. So I am not as obsessive about this as, whoops, a proper graphic designer. So I'm gonna try my best here. Oh, that to me looks decent. Let's see how bad I did. Ooh, way off. What was my score? 64. That's unacceptable. So that was the solution it should have been.
Yeah.
That was mine. And when you see it, again, you can't unsee it. So, okay, so this to me is pretty obvious. It's way off. So let's start with this one. These are too tight, and then we'll fine tune in a moment. Okay. I think this is great for practice because it kind of just feels like I'm guessing a bit. I mean, I'm looking and I know the idea, but it's like, I think as the more I play this, let's see. Hey, that was decent. Hey, it gave me 100 out of 100. So it was like, you're close enough to be acceptable. So it's like, I think what I would notice after doing this more is I'll see it better. I'll have a better eye for it. I think that these games are just basically, just to sum up my thoughts on it, is that it seems fun and like a little, you're not doing work or you're wasting time or something like that. But I think it actually is helpful to train your eye for it's almost like when you're learning through these games, these design principles, more of like what not to do. Like you can't unsee like the mistake once you've learned what the mistake is. And I think that's almost like when you're looking at something, a design, it's less of what looks good and, oh, that looks right, and more of that looks wrong, so let's adjust it. It's almost like this reverse psychology when you're designing something. Kind of like what we talked about last week. The discussion was brought up about designing and through a process of elimination and just being like, does this really need to be here? Let's take it out. So it's almost like approaching design from almost like a negative perspective, not like a in a bad way, but looking it through rather what is wrong or what needs to go away and questioning it rather than looking at, hey, that looks nice. Hey, that makes me feel good. Or wow, that's impressive. What a cool color combination.
Right.
To question it more and go, what's wrong here? This is more of a cynical, maybe that's the learning here is when you approach design, approach it like you are very cynical and looking for
what doesn't fit,
what
right?
doesn't fit. Thanks so much for watching that. If you liked it, tap the like button and consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss any of our videos. And if you loved it and want some more, join us in the Creative X crew. While you're here, why not check that video out? Cheers.